Let's start with something real. There's a woman named Claire. Educated, put together, the kind of person who turns heads when she walks into a room. And her husband, Mark? Mark is average at best. Slightly out of shape, forgettable face, the kind of guy nobody notices when he walks into a room. And yet, Claire is absolutely, completely, deeply in love with him. Her friends couldn't understand it. Her family quietly raised eyebrows. At every dinner party, you could see the silent questions in people's eyes. Why him? Claire was once asked in an interview because yes, her relationship actually got that much attention. She was asked directly, "What do you see in him?" And she laughed. Not a nervous laugh. A genuine, confident, almost pitying laugh. Like, she felt sorry for the person asking. And then she said something that stopped everyone cold. She said, "You're looking at the wrong things." Here's the thing nobody tells you about attraction. We have been lied to, not maliciously, just culturally, about how it actually works. We grew up watching movies where the hero is always the tall, square-jawed guy with perfect hair. We scroll through social media where the algorithm only promotes perfectly filtered faces and symmetrical smiles. And slowly, quietly, without even realizing it, our brain got trained to think that attraction is about what you see. But science and real life tells a completely different story. Studies on long-term relationships consistently show one thing. Physical appearance ranks surprisingly low on the list of what makes a partner truly desirable over time. What ranks high? Humor, confidence, the ability to make someone feel safe, emotional availability, the way someone listens, the way someone shows up. And here's the kicker, these qualities? They're invisible in a photograph. You cannot see them in a glance across a room. You cannot judge them by a jawline. So when you see a beautiful woman with an average man and you ask yourself why, the honest answer is, you haven't been in the room with him long enough to know. Now, let's talk about something called the halo effect, but in reverse. We know that attractive people are often assumed to be smarter, kinder, and more capable than they actually are. That's the halo effect. But there's a flip side. Unattractive people, or people society labels as average, are often assumed to be less than they are. Less interesting, less successful, less worthy. And that assumption? That's where people get it completely wrong. Mark, remember Claire's husband. Mark is one of the funniest people in any room he walks into. He remembers people's names. He asks follow-up questions. He sends voice notes instead of texts because he says, words on a screen don't carry enough feeling. He shows up. Every single time. For Claire. For her family. For their friends. And suddenly, Mark isn't average anymore. Suddenly, Mark is the most attractive man in the room. Claire didn't fall in love with his face. She fell in love with the experience of being known by him. There's a concept in psychology called misattribution of arousal. It says that the brain sometimes confuses the source of its excitement. In one famous study, people who crossed a shaky, terrifying suspension bridge were more likely to feel attracted to a stranger they met on the other side, compared to people who crossed a stable, boring bridge. The adrenaline from the bridge got mislabeled as attraction. What does this mean for relationships? It means attraction isn't always born in a moment of visual perfection. Sometimes it's born in a moment of shared laughter, so hard your stomach hurts. Sometimes it's born in a 3 a.m. phone call when someone is at their lowest and one person just stays. Sometimes it's born slowly, quietly, over hundreds of small moments that nobody ever gets to see. The world sees the surface. The couple lives the depth. So let's go back to that moment. You're at a restaurant. You see her. You see him. And that tiny voice in your head starts asking questions. But now, ask different questions. Don't ask, how did he end up with her? Ask, what does he do when nobody's watching? How does he make her feel when the room is empty? What's the story nobody in this restaurant gets to hear? Because here's what I know after everything we've just talked about. That ugly husband? He probably isn't ugly at all. He's just carrying his value somewhere your eyes can't reach. And maybe, just maybe, the most attractive thing a person can ever be is someone who makes another person feel like the world makes sense.